You're welcome. The Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project remains a topic of intense debate in Nigeria. While the federal government presses forward with the construction, questions about its financial viability, environmental impact, and potential for corruption continue to be raised. Well, this week, the Nigerian federal government commenced a demolition of structures along the Lagos corridor of the first phase of the highway construction. You can see the sound feeling going on your screen now. This move, while expected, sparked criticism from some affected businesses questioning the adequacy of the compensation. Well, David Umahi, the Minister of Works, at a stakeholder meeting yesterday, Wednesday, addressed concerns about the project's environmental impact and the disruption to businesses. He's assuring the public that the design minimizes environmental damage, and he's emphasizing that it takes care of the long-term benefits like job creation and economic growth. He's also said, very importantly, that Nigeria's federal government yesterday paid 2.75 billion naira. 2.75 billion naira. This is to 10 property owners affected by the demolition. This is the first phase compensation flag off. That's how we called it, of the compensation. And there's just 10 of them. The rest of those who are affected were asked to go see the compensation committee. Now, those who received compensation yesterday include that first phase, Olaotan, Olumuyiwa of Checkmate. If you know that area well, I know some of you go there to have fun, you know Checkmate. Kemi Oshinibi of Landmark Kids Club by Maxtivity, that's the company that owns the Kids Club. They're a vendor on that Landmark Beach front. Media Degbite, we have the FX Lounge, we have likes of Exchange Lagos, Moist Beach, we also have the G12 Beach and Best Rock. But very interestingly, you would note that you didn't hear me mention the name Landmark Africa. That's because they received no compensation at all. The Minister of Works saying that they have no claim. Now, we have a lawyer as part of our panel tonight who will tell us what the minister means by they have no claim. And talking about our panel, it's time to introduce them in no particular order. We have Semiu Okanlawon. He is Chief Executive Officer and Editor-in-Chief of NPO Reports, that's Nigeria Politics Online. Good to have you. We also have Bamidele Ayemibo.
Thank you.
He is the lead consultant, 3T Impex Consulting Lagos. And finally, we have Liborous Oshoma, who's a legal practitioner. They'll join us via video link. Gentlemen, it's good to have you on the program tonight.
Thank you.
All right. I want to start with Semiu. Are you satisfied with how this episode has gone so far? Starting from the announcement to when Atiku Abubakar went on X or Twitter to share his thoughts and basically criticize the project. Peter Obi jumped on it, the media jumped on it, Landmark came out and started crying and basically saying we're being victimized here. And the minister came out to respond and to inform Nigerians about the project. And we have questions about how it was awarded, who the contract was awarded to, the company constructing it, and all that and all that. What are your thoughts? Are you satisfied with how the episode has gone so far? Semiu.
Well, thank you. The question should be, if not now, when? The individuals that we have mentioned as criticizing and perhaps condemning the commencement of these very landmark projects are in the opposition to the current government. When Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who contested election with the current president, Bola Tinubu, and Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party, who also contested election against President Bola Tinubu. Well, you see, I am not saying that they cannot see anything good in the incumbent government, but you see, we must also play opposition with some level of, with some modicum of moderation. When we see some projects, yes, Nigeria is in dire straits, economic situation, but it's a very dicey situation. Yes, Nigeria is in its current condition, but how did we even get here in the first place? We have had a country, how many decades ago, that we have had this state of poor infrastructure, road transportation, water transportation, air transportation. Everything has almost gone comatose. You want to go from one point of the country to another, it is a war. You cannot even have that confidence to say you want to even go from Lagos to your village, maybe near in Ondo, in Akure, in Ekiti, in Osun. There is one thing or the other that is giving you concern in your mind, let alone far this land. So when the government comes up with a project as huge and as tremendous as the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, well, in a way, you may be considering the present economic situation. But you see, if you keep on wearing the badge of your poverty on your face, you may never get out of poverty. And that is my personal opinion.
So you're saying this project is well intended to, improve Nigeria's infrastructure and possibly boost the economy. You're supporting it.
I see no reason to say otherwise.
All right. I want to go to Bamidele. Bamidele, at this point, we're at the point of compensation. Demolition has already been undertaken. There's still demolition. Things started way back. But we're at the point where the affected property owners are being compensated. What are your thoughts on how the episode has gone up to this moment?
All right, thank you very much. Knowing who we are as Nigerians, there's practically nothing the government will do that will not have divides. Either because of political inclination, religious inclination, what do you call it now? The ethnic groups and ethnic nationality in Nigeria. Different people have different opinions about it. So I'm not surprised at what has played out. But what is important is the fact that the government is paying compensation. Excluding Landmark, for me, they've given a reason for it. I think, it's left for Landmark to go to court to contest whatever it is that the federal government has claimed that is the reason why. I think the political dimension that came in probably might have affected them. But I don't have the detail, but from what the minister said, he said, look.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you seem not to be audible. I do not know why. But I'll come back to you. Just allow you to see if we can check or draw closer, because I cannot hear you. So I'll go to Liborous.
I was hearing him loud and clear.
You were hearing him? Okay, I see. All right.
I was also hearing him.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't hear what he said. But Bamidele, please go on.
All right. So I was just saying that in Nigeria, the way we are today, there's no project that government will back up. No matter how laudable it is, there were people who will be against it. For this project, I think it's a laudable initiative. Even though the way we've gone about it, we might have had issues with it and with all the brouhaha around it. But the fact is that it's well intended. But the fact is that knowing who we are also, there will be people that have issue with it. And like the case of Landmark excluded, I was saying that if Landmark really have a case, I think going to court would be the way to go. But it seems as if there's a political dimension to it. But the minister actually claimed that some of the places that they are demolishing around Landmark were sublet and they weren't supposed to do that. Oniru family did not sell that to them. Now, these are now going to be subject to issue to the court for consideration, and I think that's just the way.
Okay, but Bamidele, if you sell, Bamidele, sorry to say that, if you sell a piece of land to me, can't I sublet it?
They said the part that is subletted is not part of. Now I'm quoting what the minister has said on what the paper reported.
Yeah.
The fact that it's not part of what was sold to Landmark, according to the minister. And that was reported in Punch.
Okay. All right. I want to go to Liborous Oshoma. Liborous, your thoughts on how this episode has gone up to this very moment?
Yeah, first and foremost, I will look at it strictly from the law perspective, legal perspective, compensation, construction, and a certificate of occupancy overriding public interest. Land in the Federal Republic of Nigeria are owned by states. Who hold this? The state's governor holds the land in trust for the people, and that's why he issues certificate of occupancy. And that is why he also, by virtue of the Land Use Act, he consents to every alienation that has to do with land, apart from land in communal areas. And so if there is any development to be carried out, if you find out that CFO can only be revoked by the government for overriding public interest. And overriding public interest is, in this case, when you're going to build highway, you're going to build schools, you're going to build public infrastructures. And what they do is the government will enumerate. They'll go with their surveyors, they enumerate the areas that they are going to demolish, and then appropriate compensation will be paid. There must be sincerity in all cases. So for that said, that is why you find out that most times, anytime government is constructing public infrastructures like schools, roads, especially roads, there's always this, demolition of properties, and then compensation is made. So, but there is one question: who is entitled to be compensated? If you encroach on a land, for example, and the compensation is ongoing, the government would claim that you being a trespasser on the land, that you are not entitled to compensation because in the first place, the land does not belong to you. And remember the doctrine of quick plataton, that's what is affixed to the soil belongs to the soil. And he owns the soil, owns every property thereon. So if a land belongs to somebody else, and that person has collected compensation for that land, and another person who he leased the land to is claiming, no, I am entitled to compensation. It is the man who actually leased the land that has collected compensation that should be compensating the person who he leased the land to. So in this case, looking at the highway, the super highway, or whatever you want to call it, the coastal highway, I think Nigeria is overdue for such a highway. For years, you've had that only one single road, the Lagos-Benin Express Road, Benin to Warri East-West Road, all the way to Calabar. So that road over time had consistently, been, dilapidating and non-motorable. And I think constructing a highway, a coastal road that has train infrastructure, that has also highway from Lagos, so hard road infrastructure from Lagos to Calabar, would also ease pressure on the main road from Lagos, Benin, Warri, Port Harcourt, Calabar as is. It will also now once it eases that pressure, it will also help the government in focusing in rehabilitating the Lagos-Benin road that they have always been rehabilitating forever. So most times what we do is we react what the existing one, we never construct new one. So I think this government has been ambitious in trying to construct new roads, one from Lagos to Calabar, another one from Sokoto to Badagry. But let there be sincerity of purpose in paying compensation and also in seeing the project through. Once that is done, Nigerians will benefit. I wouldn't want to now go into, maybe I don't want to preempt you by going into the benefit that super highway will provide, all of that as is, all of the coastal roads.
Yeah, you can go ahead. You can go ahead, Liborous. You can go ahead. What are the benefits of this super highway? You can go ahead. Yes.
I will start from, apart from Lagos, one of the coastal states will be Ondo State. You will have Edo State also as a coastal state. You have Delta State, you have Rivers State, and you will have Cross River State, Anambra State, and you have Cross River State. The benefit for these people would be that apart from the fact that the port in Lagos will be decongested because you can now carry your goods from Lagos using the railway line from these places all the way to Calabar. The Edo State forever had been trying to dredge the Gele port. So with an access road on that axis, you're going to certainly, the state governors, it's going to be interesting for the state governor to open up, seaports at those borders because it becomes very easy for them now to dredge the ports that are closer to them, that's closer to that road in their domain. If Edo State can also dredge Gele, for example, because the superhighway or the coastal road will pass through that place, Ondo does the same thing. Delta, Sapele, because the road also will go through Sapele. It will open up ports in this area, just like you have ports, in most states in America. Instead of concentrating.
Okay, so Liborous, basically, you're saying, Liborous Oshoma, you're saying that the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road project is going to be beneficiary to Nigerians because it's going to open up different parts of the country. You talked about Ondo, you talked about Calabar, you talked about Port Harcourt.
Yes, Ondo, Edo, Delta.
Ondo, Edo, Rivers, I get it. Yeah, and then you said it to relieve pressure on the East-West Road. I want to find out from...
Yes, it will relieve pressure on that.
Before I go to your counterparts here, just a follow-up question on what you said. What is the benefit of rerouting the Oniru stretch of that road, in fact, the entire Lagos stretch of that road, to the shoreline? What's the reason for that, and what's the benefit of that, as opposed to keeping it on land? Yeah, you just can tell me that before I...
Recently, I was watching a coastal road from, I think, somewhere in China. Before I go there, in 2011, I think the MPA, the Nigerian Port Authority, hosted the members of the Miami ports, and to understudy how they were able to decongest Miami port, with the kind of traffic that Akapa was witnessing. And I was privileged to be in that seminar. And one of the takeaway for me was the fact that they said that they had the kind of traffic bottleneck that they had at the city center also. So what they did was to construct an underground railway, a surface railway, and an underground highway from the port out of the city. And that took them a whole lot of money, funds to do. The question I asked myself, does Nigeria have that kind of money to construct a superhighway or an underground highway?
So because of time, what is the benefit of moving the road from inland, which was the original plan by those who conceived this project, to the shoreline?
The shoreline, the damages or the properties that you are going to destroy or that you're going to compensate for along the shoreline are very minimal compared to the one that you're going to compensate for when you move it to the heart of town.
Okay.
So you have the shorelines. Most of the shorelines are still you still have a lot of sands and beaches in those areas, unlike where people have developed. So if you move the property back into town, you're going to pay more compensation.
Okay, I'll come back to that in a minute. I want to go back to gentlemen. Do forgive me because I'm just asking follow-up questions. Just follow-up. But I'll go back to Semiu before I come back to you. Now, Semiu, Liborous says that the benefit of this project is it's going to open up, Calabar, Ondo, Rivers, Delta, Bayelsa, and other parts on the route. All right, I'm told we have to go for a break, gentlemen, so we'll come back after this commercial. And for those of you who are watching at home, please stay with us. All right, without wasting time, let's get back to our guests. We have Liborous Oshoma, Semiu Okanlawon. We have also Bamidele Ayemibo. Before I want to go to Semiu Okanlawon, who I started with before. Now, Liborous Oshoma has made a point that this project will open up different parts of the country. But I was going to ask him, but I'll ask you, when last you, Liborous, went to Calabar by road? Or when last he went to Port Harcourt by road? When last he went to Edo State by road? And if, Liborous, I don't know if you're from Edo State, but a road there is well documented in the state. So wouldn't it make sense? We're talking about 15 trillion naira for the government of Nigeria to say we want to fix the existing road network. Most federal roads are in deplorable condition as we speak today. In Calabar, at some point, the people of Calabar cross River State. I know Calabar like the back of my hand. You couldn't drive from Akwa Ibom State to Cross River State. You have to take a boat from Oron to a place called Nsidum in Calabar or any of the beaches there, because people were traveling by plane to Lagos. No, sorry, by plane to Lagos, and then from Lagos to Uyo, because they couldn't go by road. Today, it takes you 4 hours to get from Calabar to Uyo, something that should take about 1 hour, 30 minutes. That's one. Sir, last weekend, we're all privy to what happened on the East-West Road, One to Eleme or Rumokrusi section in River State, where a petrol-laden tanker was engulfed in flames and claimed 5 lives. I know that road very well. I've driven on it many times. and it has been in deplorable state for years. So Obasanjo did all the way from Akwa Ibom to the Ogoni axis, jumped over the Onne to Eleme axis, and continued. Jonathan continued it to Bayelsa State. So does it not make economic sense, governance sense, to fix these roads quickly, already existing roads, rather than embark on what may be described as, or has been described as, a white elephant project by some? Sir. Semiu, sir.
Okay, thank you. You see, I don't believe any one of us in this panel is actually an expert enough to be able to arrive at a quick calculation of the amount of money and resources that is required to fix all the roads in the country that you're talking about. You're talking of Cross River to Akwa Ibom, you're talking of rivers to Cross River, you're talking of Delta to Edo, you're talking of Edo to Ondo to across Nigeria. I tell you, even from Lagos to my hometown in Osun State, it's pretty difficult. Finding a good road to travel on. So, if you are looking at the amount of money you need to fix the entire, road network in the country, I don't know when we're going to get that kind of money. So, if you're talking about a Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, which is a new project, a new initiative of the current government, and with all of us agreeing that, look, this is a project that is going to create a kind of network along about 8 states of the Federation, creating new jobs, creating new routes, creating new opportunities. I think the fact that we are all the other roads in the country are also in a very deplorable condition does not stop the government from coming up with a new idea that is going to serve as a kind of new initiative, creating a new culture of travel across that entire corridor of travel. You can imagine from Lagos jumping to through Ogun, to Ondo, to Edo, to Anambra, to Delta, and so on like that until you get to Calabar. Yes, I know it is a very huge project, a very ambitious one, just like Liborous mentioned the other time. But I think a government that is serious, the only thing, and I must say here, the only thing we should sit on the neck of the federal government executing this project is the issue of transparency. Let the government be accountable.
Well, Mr. Okanlawon, you're telling me that we have about 35% of the federal road network being motorable today. We have 36,000 kilometers of federal roads in Nigeria, and only 35%, about 35% of those roads are motorable today. We have all used. We know. So we know what the road. So are you telling me that? Are you telling me? Quickly, are you telling me? Liborous, I'll come to you. I'll come to you shortly, please. Are you telling me that, as far as you're concerned, you believe that the federal government ought not to fix all those roads before embarking on such a project?
No, that's not the point. That's not.
No. I want allow him answer for himself, sir. Allow him answer for himself. Yeah, Mr. Okanlawon. Okay.
That's not the point. That's not being made. The point
is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
At the issue of rehabilitation. No, the point we are making. The point we are making is that while the government is embarking on this new project, this new initiative, government at the same time can also be looking at the resources and looking at the opportunities to revamp all these other dilapidated roads across the country. See, if you are saying that because of the state of the roads in other parts of the country, you are not going to start a new thing, look, you are just going to remain stagnated. I can tell you for free that those other parts of the country, there are other resources that can be deployed in those other parts of the country that can make those roads also be motorable.
But Mr. Okanlawon, what should the priority be? Sorry to interject. What should the priority be? Should it be to start fixing those roads that Nigerians are using today? That is taking their lives. These roads are taking lives. People died on the Eleme Road only last weekend.
If I can
it's
put,
costing
if I
lives.
can put it to you.
Should that be the first priority? Sir, let me ask my question, please. Should that be the first priority? No, can I finish asking my question, Mr. Okanlawon? Should that be the first topmost priority? Oh, President Tinubu says we're going to fix Omahi. Says we're going to fix all the bad roads first. That's where we're starting from. Put the energy into that. Whilst you consider this one second.
No.
Okay. Let me go to Bamidele. Let me give the floor to Bamidele. He's been quiet for long. Yeah, Bamidele, over to you.
Now,
Okay.
I believe in the genius of the and not the tyranny of the all. We shouldn't be saying we do this or this, but find a way to do both. Look,
both, exactly.
I can list for you more than 10, 15 benefits trade-wise that this coastal road will do for Nigeria. And it will reduce the pressure on this other road you are talking about. So I don't think we should be saying we should leave one and do the other. Rather, we should do this one and also find a way to do this one.
Bamidele, I want to ask you, are you aware of any repair work ongoing on these roads we're talking about now? Are you aware?
Yes.
No, but please let Bamidele speak for himself. Please let Bamidele speak for himself, please. I don't know if Liborous is now the spokesman of the two guys. Bamidele, over to yes.
The minister has been going around and we'll be seeing him on TV on projects that were ongoing before he came in, and even new projects that
Bamidele, I want you to name them. Name them for me, please. No, please. Allow him to speak for himself.
I've seen it on TV on another project. Where I'm going is, the argument here is this. What you are saying is right. We should not leave those roads, but we should not say because those roads are bad, we should also not develop new projects.
But what should be the starting point? What should be the priority? What should the government start with? That is what I'm asking. Should they start with this project, or should they go and say we want to begin by conducting an assessment and begin in fixing the existing road network, making it more tolerable for Nigerians, which is a low-hanging fruit?
Now, I'm also aware that this project in question, government is not going to be funding it all alone. It's not going to be funding it all alone.
All right.
So if we're able to get funding coming in, and that road can be towed and recouped from it, and reduce the pressure on the resources of government to be able to do other things. What I'm trying to say is, I get your point about what we need to give priority to. I'm saying, why rather than say we should do this and leave this one, let's do both of them together.
But both are not being done. Both are not being done. Both are not being done. Okay, Bamidele, gentlemen, we want to take a commercial break. I'll come back to you, Liborous, immediately return from the next break. For those of you watching at home, please stay with us. Welcome back. We still have our guests with us, Semiu Okanlawon. We have Bamidele Ayemibo and, of course, Liborous Oshoma. I want to go straight to Liborous Oshoma. Over to you. Like I was asking you here the question, what should have been the priority, the first action of the federal government? Fix the existing 36,000 kilometers of federal road that needs to be fixed, or this project?
Yeah, if you, Kofi, if you remember in this year's budget, during the budget presentation, the Benin Auchi Lokoja Road, for example, Shomole raised an alarm that 200 million was budgeted for rehabilitation of that road. And the minister, Umahi, in explaining in Tremont Light, said no, that there is a counterpart funding. The federal government is going to spend 200 million on that road, and the counterpart funding mainly for the rehabilitation of that road would come from outside of the country. And as I speak now, just recently, that the rehabilitation of that road, which was abandoned during the time of Onole Meme as Minister for Works, a contractor had been mobilized to site. If you watch recently also, Umahi in, inspecting road constructions, rehabilitation of the existing road construction, he did query some contractors for using clay instead of sharp sand. Also recently, the Minister for Works summoned contractors. He said some contractors have been on site for 7 years and nothing to show for it, despite the fact that federal government had paid for the rehabilitation of those roads. And so, I know you reported it, your television station reported it also, that the minister insisted that the contractors must sign a new contract with them with timelines. So all of these are steps taken by the minister to rehabilitate the existing road, including the Lagos-Benin road. If you remember also, we are very used to the Calabar, Akwa Ibom to Abia road. If you remember, that Udupani Junction, you talk about Udupani Junction was not motorable for a long time. We also abandon our state governors. We just leave them. We don't even call them at all. Udupani Junction was very bad for a long time. Governor Ben Ayade, your former governor, rather than fix that bad portion of Udupani Junction between Uyo and Calabar, he rather, said he wanted to fix the plantain.
So is that why the federal government has failed over the years, despite budgeting billions of naira for that road, not to fix it? It's a federal road. I'm asking you a follow-up question based on what you said.
Allow me, you asked a question.
No, but I'm asking you a follow-up question.
I'm giving you details. So you find that that's why I'm taking you side by side, because all these places I will also know them with like the back of my hand.
Okay.
But the Akwa Ibom State Governor fixed that road from Ikotakpene all the way to Ikwano in Abia State. And meanwhile, mind you, that road from Umudike all the way through Ikwano to Uyo also is a federal road. But the Akwa Ibom State government took time to fix it, because it is not just the federal government people that passes that road. The state government also. So
Liborous, are you blaming state governors for the deplorable condition of 65% of federal roads in Nigeria?
Kofi, we are talking about road construction.
I just want to be sure. I want to be sure. Please answer my question. Are you blaming the cross? No, Liborous, please.
No, don't check the question.
No, please. I'm asking you. You made a statement. Please permit me. Are you blaming the Cross River State government?
Before you begin to, Kofi, see.
Please, it's a simple question, sir. Liborous, you just said that the Cross River State government has failed to fix the Odupani section of the the Calabar Itu road.
You didn't hear the part where I talked about the contract that the federal government signed with contractors. Why didn't you highlight?
That's why I'm asking, so you can tell me. But you're not allowing me to ask you follow-up questions, and I don't find that funny. All right, Liborous is frozen. I want to go to Semiu. Semiu, should state governments be held accountable for the failure of federal government to fix federal roads?
Should what? I didn't get that.
Yeah, should state governments be held accountable for the failure of the federal government to fix federal roads?
Oh, well, I don't know how to answer such a question, because over the years, we have seen situations where responsible state governments, considering the resources available to them, and also knowing the importance of certain roads that belong to the federal government within their own domain, have gone ahead to repair those roads. And in some cases, they have been paid back the money with which they repaired such roads. On the issue of accountability, being held accountable.
You've not answered my question, Mr. Semiu. I asked a very clear question, and I want very clear answers. Should state governments be held accountable for the failure of the federal government to fix federal roads?
Even state government,
the state and the federal government should be held accountable for the failure of any road.
Yes,
that's a direct answer. That's a direct answer.
Government should be held accountable.
Sorry, because Kofi, you said the point here is this: there are roads designated as federal government roads, and there are those designated as state government roads. Each of them. But you see, the point is that while government, local government, and state government are also battling with its own resources, federal government too is also battling with its own resources. So you must understand why if a federal government road will be lying there dilapidated, unattended to, why the state government will consider, look, this road is important to us, it's important to the life, business and commercial activities of the people of our state. Let us go ahead.
Okay, so Semiu, you're talking about, Semiu, sorry to interject, because of time, I'll be coming in.
Yes.
Yeah, but you were saying that because of maybe paucity of funds, state governments should also take up responsibilities, to be able to to fix the federal roads in their areas. Now, how can a government that is faced with these policy of funds, for want of a better description to what you said, decide to, within its first year, focus on a gigantic project? You're saying there are no funds, rather than go ahead to fix already existing road network in the country first, since you have policy of funds. That's what you're saying. You're talking about policy of funds.
Kofi, you are missing this point.
You're still going back to the same issue.
Sorry.
Semiu has the floor,
that we
please.
trashed.
Yeah. Semiu.
We're still going back to the same issue that we trashed. We're talking about the fact that, okay, government, because of paucity of funds, and don't forget, I asked that question, if not now, when? Don't forget that the current government has 8 years, to go, to be in government. So if you don't start a project like this at the beginning of the administration, it is just being forward-looking. And don't forget, we said this is an ambitious project. Government is going to look for the resources to ensure that it has promised the people of Nigeria that it's going to give them this road, and it is the responsibility of this federal government to solve for the resources to at least fund this project. It has commenced, and let us see where it goes. Takes us to. I said earlier in my intervention that the only thing we can't be sitting on the neck of the federal government on is on the issue of transparency and accountability. Let the government be accountable. Let the government be transparent in the handling of this project.
Okay, we have to go for a break. Bamidele has been left out for some time now. So when we come back, I'll go to Bamidele, and then I'll come back to Liborous, who we lost, unfortunately, along the line. It's still Politics HQ. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching Politics HQ right here on New Central Television. We still have our guest, Semiu Okanlawon, who is the Chief Executive Officer and Editor-in-Chief of NPO. That's NPO Reports Nigeria Politics Online, an online news publication. He joins us via video link in Lagos. Bamidele Ayemibo, Lead Consultant 3T, Impex Consulting in Lagos, and of course, Liborous Oshoma, Legal Practitioner in Lagos. I want to go quickly to Ayemibo. The company, Landmark, was left out of this compensation, drive. Minister said all his infrastructure was spared. His infrastructure was not touched. I want to quote the Minister of Works. Quote, "We don't pay for shanties. Shanties were on our right of way, 250 meters from the shoreline." As far as you know of this project, is he correct that Landmark didn't deserve any compensation?
Yes, I mentioned that earlier in the first remark I made, the fact that the areas that concern Landmark that affected, according to the minister, were the area that were leased to individuals outside what is supposed to be the coverage of what Landmark is supposed to be covering. So, in my opinion, it's now the word of Landmark against the word of minister, and they will have to go to court to go and resolve it. So, as far as I'm concerned, the issue is that according to him, the road, the shanties, the shanty now, other projects or other businesses that are around Landmark are on the right of way, and they were removed or they're going to be demolished because they are not part of what is expected or coverage of what has been given even to Landmark. And as it is right now, it's contesting the fact that those people don't have need for compensation because they don't have any title to the land that they are using, because it's not part of what Landmark is supposed to be using or people that he's leasing it for. And that's his claim. If Landmark have a different opinion to that effect, then the court should decide it.
Okay. Liborous, the minister had some strong words for Paul Onwanibe, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Landmark Africa Group, whom he accused of politicizing issues. Do you find this to be the case, having listened to all Paul Onwanibe said?
Sorry, before I answer your question, I don't want to leave the last question hanging because for public viewership's sake. Like I said, the federal government is rehabilitating some dilapidated road that had been so dilapidated for so long. I cannot, in all honesty, also exonerate state governors from the bad state of our roads. Take the Ekpoma axis of the Lagos, of the Benin Auchi portion road, for example, as bad as that road is, the federal government is in Abuja. You have a state governor who is resident, domicile. What stops a governor from doing palliative on that road? Because the people that applied that road, even though it's a federal road, are from the state.
So Liborous, if they are not doing it, if they are not doing it, and the federal government has resources, whether it's directly theirs or is on the PPP to allocate. I'm asking the question, sir. Sorry, to allocate. When the federal government says, okay, we want to focus on some projects. Yes, the state governors are not doing our roads. What should the federal government do first? A new government.
That is what I am telling you, Kofi. Kofi, the federal government is doing the contract signed with contractors who have been on site for 7 months and didn't do anything. It's not for the Lagos-Calabar Super Highway. It is for the existing roads.
So where are they?
It is for the existing dilapidated
We didn't see anybody on the on-air LML road that took 5 lives last week. Is that road not important?
You're talking of...
Gentlemen, I'm sure you know the economic importance of the on-air LML road.
You're pointing one road. I have mentioned some to you.
But it is a very significant road. It leads to the on-air port. It leads to the Port Harcourt refinery. It leads to Intel, Indorama. These are nationally critical assets.
Kofi, there's no road. Kofi, you are a journalist. You are a journalist. I dare you to go and find out if that road had not been awarded. If one of those contractors that was asked to sign...
I can give you the history. I can give you the history. 2 years or 3 years ago, I can give you the history. I can give you the history.
2 years ago, I'm telling you about last 2 weeks. I'm telling you about the last 2 weeks. Go and check with the Federal Minister of Works. If that road, those contractors that were asked to sign, look, that's why I said let us give the public facts and not sentiment. Let's leave sentiment aside. So the issue here is we cannot, we have been one of those that consistently criticize government for reaffirming existing road without constructing new ones. So now that the federal government is daring to construct a new one, mind you, this project started from Jonathan's time. It was all in the drawing board. We're very happy. Oh, Lagos-Calabar Super Highway, Lagos-Calabar Super Highway. And it never saw the light of the day. When this, the second Niger bridge was to commence, the question that was asked was, should the federal government be constructing second Niger bridge instead of rehabilitating the existing one? But today, motorists are enjoying the second Niger bridge. The head bridge, the traffic, humongous traffic that you used to have at the head bridge is no longer there. And so traffic has been diverted from the head bridge to the second Niger bridge. And now you can rehabilitate second Niger bridge without having to stop the flow of traffic the way it used to be before. That's how government functions. Now talking about compensation, I said earlier on before that if you're a trespasser on a land, if you go to that place, I've taken time to go to those areas. And if you take your GPS and you chart that area, you will see 12 meters for the shoreline is federal government owned land. That's why consistently you'll be having battle between the National Inland Waterways and the Federal Ministry, this Lagos State Government Ministry of Water Infrastructure. So what people do, if a client of mine wanted to buy a beach center, and I told him no, but money that we sell beach center to you, at the end of the day, someday federal government will come and say you're trespassing on their land. Nobody will give you a CFO on a beachfront. Because 12 meters from the sea, from the shoreline, is completely
so I want to ask you, is the core Atlantic federal government land?
See, that's land. Go and check what the agreement that Lagos State government entered with federal government. So reclaim the shoreline.
Okay. We want to go. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Liborous Oshoma, I want to thank you very much for your time. Semiu Okanlawon, and of course, Bamidele Ayemibo. It's been explosive having 3 of you on the program tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
My name is Kofi Bartels. Politics Today, or Politics HQ rather, returns tomorrow right here on News Central Television. Good night.